Healthy Mom University. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. My name is Christy Vergara. I am the creator of Healthy Mom University, which is a wellness school designed just for moms to help you guys become the healthiest version of yourselves possible. And today I have an awesome guest. I'm so excited about her. This is Sara Garofalo, and she is calling in. She's with us today all the way from California, and she's going to be talking to us about Ayurveda. She specializes in Ayurveda health coaching. So, Sara, welcome. And I would like for you at first to just, tell us about yourself and tell us how you got into the field of Ayurveda.
Thank you so much for having me today, Christy. And I want to just start by saying that I am 100% Italian. So some people that are into Ayurveda, either they are from India or they have some origins, but I'm 100% Italian, so did not lived in in India. And what happens is that I started traveling really, really young. I started traveling the world in my early 20s. And what happened was that I was trying to heal myself and my relationship with food. And I spent a lot of time in Australia. I spent about a year, and that was the most spiritual journey I've had in my life. I mean, at that point, when everything started. So I lived in an ashram, and let me know if I need to explain what an ashram is.
Go ahead, explain.
Yeah. So for the moms that don't know, ashram is like a small community of people, like-minded people that come together, live together. They have a community kitchen, community bathrooms. And what we did was we meditated 3 times a day. And we did chores called meditation in actions. And then at night, because it was an Osho based, every time at 7 p.m. we would dance for 30 minutes, and then we would do our meditation, night meditation evening, where we would either talk about something or go through healing our traumas or talk about Osho and mind and heart and all of that. So I lived like that for 4.5 months. And while I was there, a traveler came through. And she was specializing in Ayurveda, so she did a workshop there. She explained us the mind-body type constitution. And at that time, I I've tried many diets. I went through a dietitian program. I was so desperate for finding answers, right? And there she was explaining me about mind-body constitution and about Ayurveda, and I was like, what is this? So, as you know, Ayurveda is the most ancient healing system on earth, pretty much, more than 5,000 years old. So what I did, I started researching it and reading about it, and I decided to join an online college after a year after. And so I became an Ayurvedic counselor. And now I help women discovering their mind-body type and discovering who they are, how to bring balance back in a very holistic way.
Awesome. I love that. And then you became a mom yourself, right? And
I did.
You practice, and are you teaching your children the Ayurvedic principles as well?
I am, and so there are some key points that are similar to the Italian culture about mindfulness of food. So I really teach them all of this, and we go through the herbs together, we cook together, and we talk about it. So it's very, very empowering for kids as well.
Absolutely.
Knowledge around foods and awareness.
Yes, that's so important. So important. Real food, around real food, not processed, prepackaged junk food, but
yeah. Yeah, we never eat out. Yeah, exactly. We just spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
Yeah, for sure. Especially during COVID, I'm sure it's it gives you more time to really get in there. So talk to us about some of the basic principles of Ayurveda.
Okay, so pretty much the basic principle, they are coming around the 5 elements, or Pancha Mahabhutas, which are the 5 elements of nature: earth, water, fire, space, and air. So Ayurveda believes that every living entity, every human being, every living entity is composed by all these 5 elements, and they create the doshas, or they create these energies. And I don't know if you've heard of Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. These are the 3 energies that live within us. And then there are a combination. So we're born with a combination that makes the mind-body constitution. So that's why we're so unique. There are combinations, but we're very unique in this world.
Mm-hmm. Because you can be like part Pitta and part Vata, right? Or you can be all Pitta and no Vata. So talk to us about the different doshas and like, what is the constitution of each of these doshas?
Yeah, so how the doshas work is that they pretty much control and govern the creation, elimination, transformation of every body tissues, and also our mind. They also govern thoughts and mind. And so what I tell people, just to make it very short, Vata is the energy of wind. So it's very light, it's air. Mm-hmm. And Pitta is fire. And Kapha is earth. So if you think about nature, air is very light, right? Very like up in the air. And Pitta is fire, which is what is fire. It's very hot, very sharp. So you think about the qualities of nature. And then Kapha is earth, so it's solid, a little bit heavy. So the body constitution, just to give you like a generalized understanding, Vata would be the lightest of the body type. Those are the smallest frames. Doesn't mean that's what they call the skinny, but it's a natural thin. Like for them, it's hard to gain weight. That's their nature. That's their body type. Their bone structure is very thin. They have thin hair. They are more slender. The Pitta is kind of like in between. So they're strong. So they're very athletic, but they can build up muscle more easily than Vata. And the Kapha is, I would say, the strongest of them all, because it has the earth, but it's also the heaviest. Doesn't mean that what we call, I don't like to say this word, but doesn't mean that you are kind of the overweight person, but it means that you have a stronger body structure, you have a good stamina, and for you, it might be that you're more rounded. Like those are the people with more curves, right? And that's kind of like how you can gauge the body types.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's good to know. So if you tend to be more prone to gaining weight, or vice versa, you tend to have a difficult time gaining weight, then you should kind of know and understand your dosha, right? Because that might explain a lot of things for you if you're struggling in that area, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of the time you need to understand your body and, like you're saying, your constitution, because then you understand what works for you, what foods work for you and what not. And if you are more Kapha, it might be harder to lose weight. So you have to do certain things to speed up the metabolism that a Pitta won't do, for example. So it's very empowering for that reason, because at least you're like, oh, I'm doing this diet, you're comparing yourself, you're not losing the weight, and you're not understanding that you have a specific mind-body constitution that's, like you're saying, it's biochemistry, right? really helps to understand why and how you can lose weight.
Yeah. And I think that that's important for us women to understand, especially when we become moms, because, you know, some of us struggle with getting off the baby weight, or others it just falls off, you know, and I'm sure that a lot of times we get into that comparison game, even though we shouldn't. But when we really start to understand who we are and our biochemistry and our constitution, and then we can start making a path for just ourselves as an individual, instead of just being like, oh, I need to go keto, or, oh, I need to go this way or that way. Right. And that's what you do. Correct. Yeah. That's like your specialty. Totally. So you help women really. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Talk more about that.
No. What I really help women stop dieting, like getting out of that diet mentality that really does not serve us. It's a band-aid solution. So that they can feel empowered with Ayurveda, understanding who they are, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, so they can actually work with those and balance themselves wherever they are in their life. Because Ayurveda really is holistic. So it doesn't matter if in your 20s or in your 60s or in your 50s, like there is an age appropriate, and it depends on where you're at, what you're going through. It's a lifetime tools, right? It's lifetime tools that is going to serve you and your family as well, the rest of your life.
Right.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah. It's something that you can take with you for as long as you live, and it will benefit you when you understand your constitution and how you're designed. And then it helps you to understand your children too, right? Because And let's talk about energy levels, the dosha in relation to the energy levels.
Yeah, it really, like you're saying, it helps to understand your children. For me, when I learned Ayurveda before, so I was like, okay, I understand who I am. Then I have two amazing children, but different energies. I'm not talking about boy and girl. I have a boy and a girl, but I'm talking about the different energies of the dosha, like you're saying. Let's start with Kapha. I love the Kapha energy. Kapha is the babies that are, I would say, more mellow, but more peaceful. They're like, you can put a toy down. They're so happy with their toy. Like my daughter, she's more Kapha, so I can hang out with her. She helps me. She goes along. She's easygoing. Then there is the Pitta, which is so fiery, like so determined, goal-oriented, high energy, kind of destructive energy. I would say it's a more male energy. And both of my kids have that, but my son is very Pitta. And then the Vata is so much around creativity. But this energy is the one that will make you spin. So if you have a child that is Vata Pitta, that has a lot of Vata, those are the kids that are getting overwhelmed and they just spin out of control, and you can't like make them sit down to eat. Like they're just going and going. And that's my son. And my daughter is just like, she eats, she sits down, she's like, is way different. So it really helps to understand who you're dealing with. And with my son, I have to make sure he has a strict routine and meals. Because if not, he spins out of control and the Vata gets out of balance. And my daughter is way different, right? And she loves comfy foods. She goes for the cheese. That's kind of like the Kapha personality. Like she goes where the comfort is.
That's really interesting. Yeah, my kids, I have 3. And my kids, my oldest and my youngest, are both probably dominant Pitta. Okay, so they're very strong-willed, real athletic, just strong, lots of stamina. And my middle son is probably more Kapha. Like he's fine just hanging out and eating. And you want to go somewhere? Okay, I'll go. Go with the flow. And then I'm more of the Vata, which I get overwhelmed and my energy stores really get sucked. And when I figured that out, then I was like, oh, okay. So I'm not just a total loser mom that can't keep up with their kids, right? Like it's my nature to, in that respect, to get overwhelmed and so it was a helpful tool. It was a really helpful tool for me once I sort of figured that whole thing out. So talk to us more about how moms can really benefit from understanding their dosha and following the Ayurvedic principles that go along with the constitution.
Sure. So I think every mom, every woman should have these tools to help, first of all, themselves, because we go through so much. Okay, we go through pregnancy, postpartum, then we are dealing with kids every day, 24/7. Like I feel like moms are the glue that keep the family together, because we go through so much. Not that fathers don't help. I'm just saying we go emotionally and physically through so much that having these tools help us to understand how we can be an empowered mom and human being to support first ourselves and taking care of ourselves so we don't burn out, and understanding what foods, because foods is connected to anxiety, foods is connected to all the emotions, and to gut health. Like, how can we feel empowered? How can we balance ourselves and feel energized to be there for our kids? Then the second point, and have the body that we want, right? Without worrying about dieting constantly. Then the second point is, how can we help our children and structuring a lifestyle that supports every kind of constitution, and also our husband or significant other, because it's important to understand who are you dealing with in a family, so that you can create a lifestyle and meal plans that benefits all of us, and to kind of live in harmony, live like we're trying to achieve balance. That's what we want as moms, so that we don't feel like losers all the time and have this mom guilt that we're losing our pretty much shit all the time, right?
Yes.
That's
well said.
The goal of a mom. Feeling like that we have everything together, pretty much.
Yeah, that at the end of the day, we can sit back and be like, I mommed hard today, and I did a good job momming hard today, and I love how you brought up the point of really understanding your spouse or your partner as well, because that's where harmony comes in. Like if you're dealing with two very different constitutions, that can be very frustrating in terms of parenting and energy levels and motivation and food and all of those things, right?
Yeah, totally, especially if you are both fiery. Like, that's where you create fire, right? And there is a fire and water or fire and earth, and that's usually like one balances the other. So we have like our journey with our spouse, but it's so important to understand how can we peacefully walk together on this path, and that's what we want. It's like, I think we need these tools to, when we get out of balance, bring us back and knowing what to do, instead of like asking, what am I doing? Like, I don't know the answer. Then knowing the answer, and the next day go back to balancing, to balance.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So let's say I had a really rough day, and at the end of the day, I was like, I knew I was out of balance, right? So what would you advise someone in terms of, steps that they needed to take to get themselves back into balance?
So the first energy that gets out of balance is always Vata, just so people understand what they need to focus on. Vata is the one that will get us overwhelmed, anxiety, panic attacks, and all that. So if you need to create a lifestyle, and that's why routine is so important, and that's why people during COVID-19 and moms struggled so much, because there was a lack of routine. You don't go to work, you don't go to school, you you need to recreate that routine immediately. Even when you're traveling, set up a routine. And that can be breakfast at this time. I don't know, kids playtime at this time. So routine is so important to balance that, as well as meals. Because if you're skipping meals, that you are pretty much walking towards anxiety. Like that's the door and the pathway to feeling overwhelmed and spinning. So meal, understanding, okay, I'm having this meal at this time. Lunch is so important, so don't skip it. And having a stable routine for everyone. Like we need boundaries. We need that routine to keep us in place. And taking time for ourselves. I think that Ayurveda teaches us about self-care so much. And at the end of the day, you just need 10, 15, 20 minutes either to get into the bathtub or to journal. When the kids are asleep, like that's what I do before going to bed. It's like my time to regenerate. Some moms can do it in the morning too. I'm not so lucky because they sleep with me, so I can't get out of bed. But
you're trapped.
I'm pretty much trapped. But the goal is to find that 20 minutes a day for yourself. Self-care is very important to not burn out.
Yeah, agree 100%. So what would be your top 5 recommendations for moms to stay in balance?
To stay in balance?
Yeah.
All right. Regarding like lifestyle?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Ayurvedic principles, like, you know, and I know that everyone is going to be different, but what would be your top 5 things that you might tell a mom? Okay, these are the 5 things that you need to focus on every day to stay in balance.
Okay, so I would say have a routine, whatever that looks like for you and your family. You know what works for you. I might have a different routine, but that's so important to understand when and what you do something. Then understanding your diet in terms of your constitution, because a Vata doesn't really agree with raw food. A Kapha agrees a little bit more. Like understanding what makes you balance in terms of food is so important. That then you can plan your meals. Also, the third one, I would say have that self-care in at some point in the day. That could be your exercise, that could be before going to bed, for yourself. So choose something for the benefit the mind, because mindset work is so important, and I don't think we do that enough. Then I really make sure I integrate herbs and spices. That's, if you're a mom that cooks for everyone, that make sure you work with herbs and spices, because that's kind of free medicine right there. That it allows you to help your digestive system every day rather than taking a supplement. So really strongly believe that. And are we at 4? And then
that was 4, yeah.
That was 4. And then 5, I think, did I say mindset? Because for me, mindset is so important.
Yeah, you could say it twice.
I can't say that enough. I have a gratitude journal that allows me every day to focus on staying positive. And I really like mind body type. If you focus on body but not the mind, that's why Ayurveda is about balance between mind, body, and soul. So if you focus a lot on diet, let's say everyone goes on this type of diet, keto, vegan, I don't know, like all this, but they forget the mindset. They forget that in order to reprogram our brain, we need to work on that. So creating a positive mindset every day, it's something that I am now telling my clients. I tell the moms that I'm working with, you've got to train that. I do that every day. And it kind of helps you to keep your shit together. Sorry to say that again, but it helps you to keep yourself one, focused, balanced, grounded, you know, so that you can be there for the whole family when your kids are having a meltdown.
Yeah.
When your husband needs you.
Yeah.
Had a bad day, right? So it
Absolutely
really is important.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. And I always say that moms are the most powerful influencers on the planet, you know, because nobody's going to influence our children in our circle of influence like we do. And that's a huge responsibility that we have, you know, that people are watching us and people are seeing how we react and to different situations. And like our children will learn how to react as they watch us react. And if we can have that gratitude and that positive mindset, and no, not every situation is positive and you can't always sugarcoat things, but counting your blessings and being grateful for the things that are working in your life and being able to focus on those every day helps us to, like you said, stay grounded and set that positive example for our kids so that we don't lose our, you know what I mean? And, you know,
totally.
and so I agree with you 100%. That's amazing. Thank you. Now, can I share the handout that you sent me with the spices and herbs? Would that be okay if I share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up. Do you want them to connect with you to get it? Okay.
No,
Because
You can...
it's fabulous. If I was more tech savvy, I'd be able to pull it up. So I apologize. But I have it on my computer here, and you have like ginger and turmeric and fennel and cumin and what they do and how, like, which doshas they're good for. And I think it's such a great tool to have for moms to print out and put it on their fridge and know, okay, this is what I'm cooking tonight and this is what I need to bring in more of and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, totally. It's so important to integrate those herbs and spices in there.
Yeah,
we don't do that enough. So I hope they can help other women.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Moms.
I think that it will, because a lot of us are used to, you know, just cooking out of a little packet, and we don't really know how to use different herbs and spices in our cooking. So I think it's a good tool to have for us to get back to the old way of cooking, where we're actually pulling in, you know, we're adding in individual spices and flavoring and creating dishes that way, rather than just, okay, here's a little taco seasoning and then pouring it into our food.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that that's amazing. So can you tell us where we can find you if any of the moms that are listening want to connect with you and learn more about your services?
Yeah, so my website is www.loveholisticliving.com. My name, so I go by Love Holistic Living. So, and then there will be my photos and my name, Sara Garofalo. And that's my website. You can put it in the link if you want. And I'm always there to talk to moms. And I have a little Facebook group called Weight Loss from the Inside Out, where I pretty much talk holistically from one to another, right? Like, it's all about holistic weight loss from the inside out and a lot of Ayurveda insights. So if you're ever interested,
yes,
join me.
That's amazing. Yeah. I will put that information out there, because I know I already know a lot of moms will be interested in joining that group. So thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. This has been really insightful. And I wish you the best health and wellness and safety during these times. And, you know, hopefully we can do this again in the future.
Okay. Yeah, I'm totally down. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sara. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.